Hello.
Hello.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. All right. That's awesome. Tech difficulties. I forgot to play the song. It's okay. It's all right. All right. Good morning, everyone who's joining us this morning, streaming live on Facebook and YouTube. So now you'll be on a YouTube, Chris.
Awesome. My first time.
First time ever, right?
That's right.
This is the first time for everything. I feel like I'm really close up and you're really far away.
I'm not tech savvy. I have no idea what I'm doing.
It's all good. You're here. All right. Awesome, you guys. Good morning. This is the Wake Up with Angela Marie and FC Morning Show. It's actually titled Angela Marie in the Morning because I have no idea if and when FC will be back. So we are going to continue the morning show, and I continue to invite guests. We actually have another one next week, but I'm really excited about this morning, you guys, because I have a very special guest with me this morning. His name is Chris Voss, and he was one of my coaching clients. Chris, like a year and a half ago.
Yeah, I think it was February will be 2 years.
Is it really? Yeah, about a year and a half. We'll just call it a year and a half. That's too long ago. So, anyway, I want to talk to you guys. We want to talk to you guys about creating the life that you want, creating the life that you can design that you can create, that you can design on your own. Because the power in the mind is so much stronger than what you guys think. And yesterday, I actually did a live on goals, like goal setting and living your life by design instead of by default. And Chris is a perfect example of like creating the life that you want, right? Like Chris, you had this you were struggling before we started coaching together, and with your mindset, and really being able to be in a position where you could create that life that you wanted, even with all the things that you had going on. So I want you to actually share just a little bit about what it is that changed in you about a year and a half ago, because I've seen a difference and it continues. Like, it's not something that you changed for 5 weeks or 8 weeks or whatever it was. You made the decision, like, even after that, every day you make a decision to live the life that you want, regardless of what you have going on.
Right. Well, basically, I knew I had goals, and I had, like, they were overwhelming because they go back to childhood, and I never reached them in my previous marriage, and I knew I must reach them to fulfill what God's put on my heart. And so how do you get there? And that's what you taught me, was the roadmap to, and the biggest thing I took away was don't give up. And so we've talked over the year, and you've been like, I can't believe you're continuing to do this. And I'm like, well, that's what you said. You can't give up. It takes time. And it does. It takes time. And if you're patient and you don't give up, I have literally been driving down the road and yelling at myself, my affirmations, yelling at myself, what I wrote down in the journal, because sometimes your mind won't listen. It won't do what you want it to. So you make it, and you cannot, it has to become an obsession. You can't, this is not a hobby. If changing your mindset and achieving your dreams is a hobby, just talk about it the rest of your life and never do anything, because it won't happen. You have to put in the time and the action and the discipline, and to be if not obsessed with achieving it, and it will happen. Anything's possible. Like, affirmations are coming true in the past 30 days more than they ever have. But I've put in a year and a half. And a lot of them are still so big that they probably will be maybe a year from now, maybe 2 years from now. But it doesn't matter. Time's going to go by anyways.
Yeah. So life is too short.
Yes.
To just put your life off or put your life on hold. And the reality is that you can create the life that you want. You can create it by the way that you think. Whatever, Chris, you've heard me say this so many times, it's whatever goes in must come out. Whatever goes in must come out. And so if negative is going in, more negative is going to come out. And about 2 years ago, Chris, you were in a different spot. Completely. Negative all the time. Talking down on yourself all the time and not feeling good about who you are as a person and who God created you to be. And when we first met, I want you to share something. We were on the phone, was it 2 weeks ago? And you had mentioned to me, because we actually had met through a mutual friend of ours.
Yes.
And I came down to San Antonio, Texas to do a speaking engagement. And we didn't market that the way that it was supposed to. But where I was at, it was like, I don't care if there's 3 people or 4 people. It doesn't matter. The reality is I'm going to do it anyway. And where my mindset was, it didn't matter how many people were there. What mattered was the people that were there were meant to be there and were meant to hear what I had to talk about for 4 hours.
I was just so inspired by you because the room was full, even though it wasn't. And my bank account is full, even though it's not. I've been affirming 250,000 per month net income. That's a big goal. That's a really big goal. Never happened in my life before. But about, 6 months ago, I actually can see it. I can feel it. I can see it. It's in my account. I experience it. I pretend and write contracts that amount. I write checks for that amount. It is my day-to-day life, even though it hasn't manifested. But your mind has to get to where you are. First, you go out by faith. First, you write down your dream life. And then you just wait for your mind to catch up. Mm-hmm. I helped a young lady. I've actually been helping some friends of mine with what you've taught me just for free because I enjoy it and it's fun. And I'm like, let's see if it'll work for this person, right? And she manifested her dream husband, and she was so picky. I'm talking, I was sitting myself saying, you shouldn't be so picky. Like this is going to be hard for the universe. The universe is going to have, God's going to really have to try on this one. She was picky beyond, and she attracted in 2 months, her dream man.
Wow.
This dude was like, only carnivore, all tattoos, but a really nice guy, giving person, wants a lot of, it was like this incredible, interesting man. And she attracted it. It was amazing. So some things can happen that are very complex and in a short amount of time. Another friend of mine is an Uber driver. I said, you can't really, if all you can do is give what they get, you get what you give. So you can't control what rides you get, but you can control the tips you get. Mm-hmm. And so he started tipping $100, $200, $300 of tips. Who does that for a ride? But he manifested it. So his income shot up. It wasn't through Uber, it was through his tips. So this stuff is real. It works. And like I told you before, Angela, LeBron James puts 1.8 million just in his body and his mindset. He has a mind coach, I'm sure. It's probably, the top guy, whoever that is. He has a private chef. He has all these people that specifically make his body and his mind perform at the ultimate level. But he makes $100 million per year off that 1.8. So my goal is to, put in $1,000 a month into my body with food, stretching, training, all that. But I'm not there yet because I have a lot of other things I'm dealing with. But it's still a goal. And then I'll probably have a 5,000. I mean, can you imagine spending $5,000 on your body? Like, how much fun would that be?
Right?
Right. I mean,
If you could just go out and be like, all right, $5,000, no big deal. Right.
So, but think how well you would sleep and how much stretch less, to have someone prep all my meals with keto, all organic. That's expensive. How great would that be? I mean, but if you don't start somewhere, you'll never get anywhere.
Yeah, exactly. It does. It's amazing how powerful our minds are. And, most people think, well, if you keep saying I'm not worthy enough, I'm not good enough, I'll never amount to anything. Or you say things that like, well, I'll never be good enough to make that much money, or I don't have a college education to be able to make that much money. And the reality is that that's all lies that you're feeding yourself. I know for me, my background is network marketing and direct sales for 19 years. And I didn't go to college. I went to high school, graduated from high school, and that's it. But the reality is that I continue to invest into myself on the personal development side. I continued to believe that I was worth more than the life I was living. And I wanted a way to be able to be home with my kids. And I never even knew the direct sales and network marketing industry even existed. I got involved with a company at an early age. I was 21 years old and pregnant with my oldest son, who's now 19, engaged to get married. Yeah. I don't know if I told you that, but yeah, he's engaged.
That's awesome.
I don't know. I'm still processing. It's been a while and I've been processing for a while. I mean, I'm definitely happy for them. But I'm just like, sometimes I'm like, just slow down a little bit, but at the same time, we have to let our kids grow, let them be who they are, and allow them to make mistakes along the way and lessons learned. And I'm not saying that it's a mistake. I'm just saying that the reality is that we all make mistakes along the way. And then we need to learn from those mistakes. That's the only way that we grow, is by learning from our mistakes. But the whole thing, Chris, is that, I failed so many times. So many times. I fell flat on my face. But at the same time, I was able to be home with my kids. I was able to work around their schedules. And about 2 years ago, I made a decision to become a coach. And so many people thought, oh, well, that's stupid. I mean, my goal was back in 2010 when I had the vision. And then I got shot down left and right. Well, you're not good enough, or you don't have a college degree, or you're not making $1 million a month, so you don't qualify, things like that. And then those things, you start to believe them. So until you make a decision to to stop those negative naysayers, those negative people, and then allow your negative thoughts to get into your head, you're going to continue to attract the negative things into your life.
That's right. I remember, to go back just to kind of, walk through the first few weeks of you helping me. I remember having my first good hour. I had a full positive 1 hour period of time, and it felt amazing. Because I just come out of a divorce. I guess it was 2 years. At the time that I hired you, it would have been like 1.5 years or whatever, 2 years. So I was still going through a lot of grieving and a lot of healing. And so good moods were not something I experienced. Even if I was with a group of people I loved and we all were having a good time, I wasn't having a good time. So then I had an afternoon, and then I had a day. And then by the time the end of our training, I was experiencing like a week. And then when you do have a negative moment, it's just a negative moment. It's not a negative day, week, month, or people say all the time, I had a bad year, or man, I had the worst week. You can have a bad moment. That's the goal. Just a moment, just a time when your brain's a computer and it has a glitch, or maybe a song comes on and boom, it takes you down because that song was connected to a memory. That memory was connected to a negative experience or a negative whatever. And then you just reset it, and it's a negative moment. I have negative moments. I don't have negative days, hours, and years. And that's what's so important, to see the transformation of the mindset and it's amazing.
Yeah, it's awesome. It really, really is. When you really understand how your mind works and you understand what it is that you want to attract into your life, you don't have to have, for those of you, by the way, who went to college, or maybe you're young and you're going to college, I'm not saying that that's a bad thing, but what I can say is that I've learned so much throughout the years. Even Chris, like, there are certain things that I'm doing right now that I never thought I would be doing, like at all. I mean, like I'm for years, I was always taught how, you can build wealth, you can make your money work for you. And I'm like, well, how does that work? How do you do that? And you think of real estate and the stock market, things like that. And I mean, I don't know if I told you this, but I just recently got involved with the Forex market. And I'm learning that skill set and understand that's amazing. Huh?
What is that?
Forex market is just Forex trading. So it's trading worldwide. It's really interesting. Really interesting. I was on a training last night and there were light bulbs going off left and right. I'm like, you can really make this happen. I mean, you can turn $50 into $1,000 and $1,000 into, $5,000. I mean, within minutes. It's crazy to me, like to know that there's a way to do that, and you don't have to have a college education to do it. In fact, Chris, did you know that banks have been doing that for 30 plus years?
I did not know.
That's how they make money on your money. Is by trading.
Is it trading currency?
Yep.
Wow. I've had clients that I've worked for that did that. One guy became a billionaire in less than 20 years. He had 60 million of art in his home. In San Antonio, he has the largest home. He has 38,000 square foot home. And when I was doing some work for him, when I was doing some work for him, I went to his closet and I saw what they call a T1. A T1 runs a whole office building of network. It's beyond a server. It's way beyond a server. And I called a friend of mine who's in the tech world. He said that's like a full corporation. AT&T corporate building would have one T1. This guy had one T1 in his home, and he was doing what you're talking about, but he was doing it so fast that he was in and out before. Does that make sense? I don't even know what I'm talking about, but he was in and out in the cell. He was selling so quickly, it was nanoseconds.
Wow.
He couldn't spend the money. He had they have 11 staff members in their home.
That's insane, right? Like, so
you need to message me after we're done with whatever you're talking about, please, because
you're like, okay, I want information on that. Yeah. And I will get you information on that. It's amazing. It takes skill set. A lot of people think, oh, well, that's gambling. It has nothing to do with gambling at all. There's a skill set. And you know what, Chris? It also is a mindset.
Yes.
It's also a mindset. 95% of it is mindset. I just learned this last night. 5% is skill.
Yes.
Well, it's kind of like when you're building relationships with people, that 93% of all communication is nonverbal. 7% is verbal in the words that we say and how we communicate with people.
Yes.
So, you know, it's amazing what you have the ability to attract into your life. And the only reason that I had gotten involved with this is because my son, my oldest son, my 19-year-old Ethan, was doing some research on it. My sister and her husband, mainly her husband, was doing research on it, was looking to get involved in the Forex market. And then my very, very dear friend of mine, old friend of mine, business partner, we were in the same direct sales company together for like 6 or 7 years. In fact, Diane, who I interviewed 2 weeks ago, and she contacted me at the end of May, and I'm like, whatever you're involved with, like, okay, I'm totally in, because the reality is that especially now, since March, we've been in this whole, I call it a pandemic. You can call it a pandemic. I don't care what it is. The reality is that, awakening has happened, and we need to be able to have other streams of income, to be able to create wealth, to be able to continue to go out there and achieve our visions and our goals for our life, regardless of what's going on out there in our nation, right? So I totally believe in multiple streams of income and really getting out of my comfort zone. And now I actually just got hired as an independent contractor to help another coach.
That's awesome.
Which is all about, she teaches on marketing strategies.
Okay.
So, I mean, how cool is that? So I'm a coach. I get to, trade and learn that skill set. I get to learn a whole other skill set, right? All the while being able to help another woman who she's a coach, but she works again mainly on like the marketing piece. So there's so many different things that we can do.
Absolutely.
And it's all about our mindset. Because if you don't believe that you can't do it, then you're not going to do it.
That's right. Also in the stock market, it crashes, and people that don't have a positive mindset, they sell, which is the worst time to sell. A smart, positive person will buy because it's on clearance. He buys when it's at the lowest and rides it all the way to the top. He doubles down. He doesn't sell what he has. He doubles down. It's on clearance. So instead, the difference with investing in life and raising children, running a company, being a good husband or wife is mindset and having a positive mindset, because there's so much good in every disaster, every thing that we would think would be negative. Like getting a divorce after 19 years is definitely considered a negative thing that I went through. However, the blessings and the good that have come out of it is priceless.
Yeah.
I wouldn't change it, because some relationships just aren't meant to be. And you can try all you want, but they're just not, if they're not healthy for both parties, then they're just not meant to be.
Yeah. And sometimes they're just toxic together. Right.
Right.
So you're either with a toxic person or you're just toxic together, and you just have to part ways. And a lot of times we attract people that aren't for us when we're in a bad place in our lives. And then there are other times that we think that we attract the right people. And then you realize, well, you know what? Maybe that wasn't the right thing, but at the same time, maybe it was, as a lesson learned, and to be able to grow from it and
Right.
get to the whole new level. So instead of looking at it as a bad thing, we have to look at it as a positive thing. Because so many of us, right, Chris, like you look at it like, this is a bad thing. I shouldn't have gotten involved in this, or I should have, and then you start to go down that negative path versus going, okay, well, what did I learn from this? What is it that I can do better next time? Right. And we ask those positive questions and going, you know what? This happened for a reason. It happened for a purpose. And then you move on from it and you grow from it. So we can choose to grow from certain areas or certain things that we've gone through in our life, or we can choose to take us down and we can backpedal the other way.
Right. Another thing that's kind of interesting to ponder is, let's pretend that me and my ex would have come to you, gone through your program. You know, it's in the past and it's done, and I don't live in the past, but I honestly believe that any relationship can be saved, no matter how toxic it is, if both parties want to change.
Right.
But, you know, I think any relationship can work, and any relationship can fail, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's all about the mindset, because either y'all are both encouraging each other, and every time you're together and around each other throughout your work, throughout the weekend, throughout the evening, you're encouraging and building up and you're better off, or it's fighting and you're tearing down, and you'd rather not be with that person. And
right.
So it's kind of interesting. Like, what I'm trying to say is, and I'm not even solid on my theory, but like any two people could make it. Like, I don't believe there's a destined person. There's a person out there that will encourage you and help you fulfill your dreams. So you say, I found the one, but you just found a positive person. You just found a person that gives instead of takes.
Right.
And so it's interesting, like with your son, he could stay together 40, 50 years and that's it. Or they could last a year. Does that make sense?
Yep. Yep.
So it's kind of, I don't know what I'm doing with this theory, but it's kind of something I've thought about a lot, is like, is there really a destined person, or is it really the person that you think is a perfect person for you is just a simply positive, wonderful person that you haven't found until now?
Right.
That makes sense.
That makes sense. That's a good way of looking at it. You know,
So
you
teach my children to be is don't go out looking for looks or money or accomplishments in your partner. Go out looking for positivity, encouragement, because that you can build wealth together. I mean, me and you in the next 5 years, get out of town. We're both going to be multimillionaires. We're both going to be world influencers. Like, that's already going to happen. But so manifesting is that's the easy part, even though it's not easy. But becoming a positive person is the hard part. Having the discipline, because everyone's gone through crap. Everyone has a story. I have a book. You've already written a book, right? We all have a book. And so, you know, our minds are like, oh, you're the only one. No, it's not true. You know, it's hard. You know, our parents did the best they could, but God bless them.
Yeah, right? Do you ever look back and go, oh, God bless my parents. I can't believe that they put up with me. Right?
My oldest son is not naturally good at school like I was. And I told him it matters what kind of person you are. It matters what kind of friend you are to your friends. It matters if you're being a bully like you've been bullied. Those are things that matter. Their grades don't matter. Try your best. If you need a tutor, let's get one. That's the best you can do. But it does not make you a man. It does not say who you are. The school system will not define my children. I have a daughter who is naturally in gifted beyond, like school is easy for her. She's in the top 10% of the country, and it's easy. So I've had, you know, but that doesn't make her better than my son. But the school system gives her like special, like, awards and like,
that's crazy.
All this special things. And so obviously my son feels what? Wow, look at her. You know, and that's just wrong.
Right.
Because obviously my daughter's going to be a doctor, attorney, or something I would never be, because I couldn't even spell half of what the doctor knows. Like, I can't do it. Like, that's not what I do. I can't do it.
Right.
You know, if you told me, Chris, you have to become a doctor, I'm gonna go to heaven. Like it's either die or go or be a doctor. I'm gonna go be with the Lord because I
Oh
can
my gosh.
be a doctor.
Right. Well, you're not called to be a doctor, right? There are people that are, and it depends on who you are and what you're called to be. And you'll know it. You'll know it. If you are in tune with your intuition, you know what you're supposed to be doing.
But I can
It
make a
took me,
hospital bed. I can make you a hospital bed from scratch.
uh, there you go.
But I can't be the doctor.
You can still contribute.
So we all have our strengths and our weaknesses, and also to get back on track, I love to like go down rabbit trails.
It's okay.
In my affirmations, you taught me to be specific. You taught me to be expressive. And so I've been talking about what kind of client I want, because I mentioned to you, I get these clients and they don't want to pay, or they don't want to this, or they're not pleased with my work, and I've tried so hard, and I've made a beautiful piece out of iron, and they're just like, whatever. And it's just such a, you're like, well, you need to attract the type of client that you want. And I've been very specific in that. And I've just had 2 clients recently that they literally, it's their passion to refer me. Like they're literally calling their friends. They're like, go to this person's house, go to this person's house. And this has never happened before, where they're like, abnormally passionate about referring me, but I'm manifesting that. That's what I've been trying for a year and a half, that my clients they'll reorder more work, and they'll tell all their friends and family. And I have 2 clients right now that are literally telling all their friends and family.
That's amazing. So it's also true that if you want to get referrals for anything in your life, whether it be business or just personal, you need to give referrals. The other thing is that you're affirming your gratitude, prayer, meditation, whatever it is. I mean, you have the ability to attract anything that you want in your life. And if it's ideal clients, for those of you who are in business for yourself, maybe you're in network marketing, direct sales, maybe you own a traditional business, maybe you're just working for someone, or you're an independent contractor. We have the ability to attract the people, the clients that we want into our lives.
Yes.
And the reality is I don't know about you, Chris, but I am more about quality than quantity. Right? Like I would rather have 5 quality people that are going to follow directions. They're going to get results in following those directions. Right? And that they're a good fit, that I can work with them, and it's not like a heartache or a headache every single day.
Right.
Than to have 12 that are like, I'm ready to pull my hair out, and I'm stressed out, and I'm anxiety filled because they're not following directions, and they're complainers, right? So, quality over quantity, I believe, is so very important. Would you agree?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Especially, I'm a designer and an artist in metal. So if the person is wanting a deal, or they're wanting a discount, or they're wanting something for nothing, that's okay. But they need to go buy something pre-bought at the store.
Right.
It's cheap and on sale. But if you want something custom, then that's why people call me. So you have to understand your own market and your own self, and then you can literally manifest that quality client that like yesterday, 2 days ago, I just met with a client. He literally told me, money isn't an issue. I just want it to be original. And that's
awesome.
Very not normal. He's basically giving me a blank check. He's basically saying is creative you can get is as much as I'm going to spend.
Right.
So, anyways, another thing that I wanted to mention, for your listeners is that I've been going through a long legal battle, a long divorce. I lost everything. Literally, I had the $93 and the clothes on my back and no vehicle, no cell phone. I lost everything. I had to go to Walmart and get a track phone. I had to go stay with a family member, and I had to borrow a vehicle. That's how I started 3 years ago. So when I wanted to hire Angela Marie, I didn't have the money. I borrowed it from my mom. So you cannot let your circumstances. I had every right to say, this is not right for me. I'll hire her when I can. Well, I would still have never hired you. Even, I mean, when is it a good time to borrow money from your mom?
Yeah.
And this isn't like I need food or clothes or a vehicle. This is, I need a life coach. So it's kind of a hard sell. But my point is, I'm so glad that I said, you know what, even if I have to borrow, I'm going to hire you. I'm going to make it happen because this resonated with my spirit. This resonated with that this is missing. This is what's lacking. This is what I have to fix first before anything else.
That's so awesome. You know, you were one of those people that didn't make excuses. You figured it out. And your story is amazing to me. I mean, that's why, you know, it's funny because a lot of people say the same thing to me. Well, um, well, I just don't have the money, and they make every excuse in the book. And the reality is that where do you see yourself in 5 years from now, or even a year or two from now, if you don't make that investment into yourself? If you don't make that step forward or take that step forward, where is your life going to be? Because what you're doing right now isn't working.
Right.
Right? Like, I mean, so many times I've been in that boat, and the one time was really bad. Really, really bad. I mean, I didn't know, I didn't have two pennies to rub together. Like, I mean, I had credit cards in collections. I had a mound of debt because of the situation that I had put myself in because of what I chose, which was being a part of an abusive relationship. I got pregnant. My, daughter was born with a cleft lip and palate. I mean, I have all these things working against me. And why? Because of my negative mindset, my negative attitude, until I made a decision. I got to change this or I'm going to lose everything, including my kids. Because if you don't have a house, you don't have a roof over your head, you don't have a vehicle, you guess what? I mean, they, my boys could win with their dad. So that decision was falling to my knees in prayer and giving it all up to him and saying, I can't do this anymore. I can't do this on my own. What is it that I need to do? And I'm telling you, I had to take the last $600, put it on a credit card at the time that wasn't in collections. This was back in 2008. And even though I was in network marketing for 19 years, I knew that I had the skill set to be able to make money, but my mind didn't allow that to happen.
Right.
So that was my fault. It had nothing to do with the business. It had everything to do with what I didn't do or wasn't doing. Right. So, man, I'm telling you what, it was the best decision I could have ever made. I took that last $600 on a credit card, had no idea, but I thought, well, what do I have to lose? I'm going to lose everything anyway if I don't take a chance.
Right.
And so I hired a coach. I became a part of a group coaching program. Isn't that funny? I hired a coach. My rock bottom, invested into some advertising. And do you remember 2008 when the market crashed?
Oh, yes.
The last quarter of 2008, the market crashed. And what did I do? $53,000 in 3 months, working 15 hours a week around my kids. And it continued. And I was able to pay off that debt, annihilate that debt. The confidence that I borrowed from other people's stories and asking God to give me that confidence, it soared, and so we end up we allow our circumstances to control where we want to go, or we can take hold of our circumstances and say no more, and I'm going to, where there's a will there's a way, and I'm going to figure it out, and I'm going to move forward. And I can tell you, I've hired 3 coaches in the last 15 years, and it was the best decision of my life. I wouldn't be the person I am today. And I will continue working with coaches, and I will continue to build that. You know what cracks me up, Chris, is that there are people that are like, well, I'm good. I already had a coach before. Or, I don't need one right now. I'm telling you, when you say you don't need one, guess what? You need it the most.
That's right. That's right. I know a lot of the influencers on Instagram and Facebook, the top people that are making 15, 20 million a year, they're all in groups.
Mm-hmm.
And they go off to like resorts, and they're even in programs that I don't even know who's training them, but like even what we would consider the top people in social media, they're being trained because I got them there.
Everybody has to. It's like sports. If you allowed, players in football, baseball, basketball, hockey, soccer, I mean, the list goes on and on. If they didn't have a coach, what would happen to them?
Right.
They'd be a hot mess, right? So every single person in life, I believe, needs a coach. They need an accountability partner to be able to move forward and to move ahead and to get to where they want to go. And, I love the fact that, Chris, like, you didn't fall off the bandwagon. There are people that do. They hire me for 8 weeks or whatever, and they're like, or 13 weeks, and oh, no. Right after that, they go back into their old habits. They go back into their old ways, and they don't fall as far.
Right.
They don't fall as far because we've built that solid foundation, right? Which is amazing. But the goal is to keep growing and to keep going and to keep growing and keep going. Like you keep it up, because it literally takes 90 days to develop and solidify new healthy habits.
Yes.
Regardless of whatever that is. So
absolutely.
That's awesome. I can't believe we're at 43 minutes right now. Awesome. Well, you have any last words that you want to say before we end the show today?
Well, guys, just, if you've hired Angela Marie, hire her again. I'm looking to do that soon. As soon as I get over the hump of my legal issues. And, if you haven't hired her, hire her. If you have, then hire her again. And sow into, sow into her and sow into her dreams, because anyone around me that is passionate and going places, whatever it may be, if it's buying her book, if it's hiring her as a coach, if it's giving her a referral letter, I want to help her as much as I can, because that just comes right back, and she'll help me someday, or, I'll reciprocate that kindness. And so we all need to be there for each other 100%, because there's not a lot of people out there. My friends went from a huge group of people now to less than a handful, because who's living a life that's positive and thinks they're a multimillionaire when they're not, when they're not. Like, I'm a little crazy. Right. I'm a little crazy to most normal people, but it's awesome. So definitely.
I appreciate you. And I don't even know what you need my help with. I mean, you've just continued to soar. You've been continued to rise. You continue to go. And I know that growing is a process, right? But I'm excited that you're here. I mean, if you want to hire me again, you are more than welcome.
I want it to be more specifically towards being a life coach, instead of helping me like you at the beginning with just the mindset and achieving my goals in business. Now I want to, in the evenings when I get home, have clients that I coach. So not full time, just like an evening part-time gate.
So you want to be a coach. Awesome.
Yeah, and it's really not even. I love it so much. I have like 4 people that I'm coaching right now. We don't meet. We just talk on the phone and text. I wrote out their affirmations for them. I found that like it's hard when you're not. You don't even know what you need to know. So to make your own affirmations is a little tricky. So I always make their affirmations for them, and they really are like, "Wow, I can do this. I can read this out twice a day before I go to bed when I wake up."
Right.
So, but I would like to do it, really not for the financial aspect at the beginning, until I can build my name, but just to help people because I truly love it.
That's awesome. So it's developing a program and what's best for you to be able to help the people that you want to help. And, I'll tell you what, I don't think there's enough coaches to go around because whoever, everybody is different. You're going to attract different people than what I would and vice versa.
Right.
I mean, that's just the reality. Go ahead.
Divorced people that are divorced that I can kind of help them get back on their feet in a sense of that mental, because you've been through it, I've been through it. It's a mental kick in the gut, and so I might specialize in that market, but I don't know for sure. But that's and young people for sure, people in the early 20s, because 20s were, man, 20s are I don't even. Whew, it's tough. Like
20s are hard because reality is that your brain isn't fully developed until you're 25 years old. So
with guys, it's longer than that. I think girls, it might be early 20s or so, and guys, it's like late 20s. We're pretty stubborn.
That wouldn't surprise me. But I think it's 25, but that'd be interesting to see. I've always heard like the 2-year rule with guys and girls that, it's 2 years longer for men than it is for women.
Right. That's about right. Something like that.
Yeah, it's crazy. So awesome. Well, thank you so much, Chris. For those of you who aren't aware, obviously Chris talked about it a lot. I am Angela Marie. I'm a transformation coach, founder of findyourpurposeandshine.com. And my oldest son actually created my website. He designed it, he developed it. And so he did a great job, and he's building websites part-time. So for those of you who need a website, definitely contact him. I encourage you guys to schedule a free breakthrough call. If you've been kind of sitting on the edge, just schedule it. Schedule it. It's free. What do you have to lose? I mean, if it's a good fit, great. If not, that's okay too, because I'm not going to work with everyone. Chris was one of those people that I chose to work with because I knew he was teachable and coachable. And here we are a year and a half later, and he's teachable and coachable and still continues to be. So thank you for being my guest this morning.
No problem. It was fun.
And I'll message you that information, I guess, right?
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Awesome. You're very welcome. And stay tuned. I am going to go ahead and play the outro, you guys. I didn't say good morning to any of you. We kind of got locked up in our own conversations, but I tend to see that people like listening to other people's conversations. I think it's a natural thing. So good morning, everyone that could join. So happy you guys could be here. If you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, please do so. Eventually, every live stream will be over on YouTube. That is my goal. Because quite frankly, Facebook drives me crazy. I don't know about anybody else, but go over there. It's Angela Marie, Find Your Purpose and Shine, and you can subscribe. So, all right. You have an incredible day, Chris, and I will talk to you shortly.
All right. God bless.
All right. God bless you too. Bye-bye. Bye, guys.